Was raised in church my entire life. My parents were wonderful. They taught me the word. I was one of those little goody two-shoe kind of girls. I was always singing at church and doing everything. Whenever I was 13 years old, that's when I realized my sin and I got saved at a church camp. I went on a youth ski trip and no one really knows what happened, but somehow I hit my head and I didn't know anything. I lost all my memory. I had severe amnesia. I remember kind of coming to a little bit, and I remember my youth pastor looking at me and he was checking my eyes, seeing if everything was okay. And they ended up taking me to the ER and they kept shining lights in my eyes, and I just knew I had a really piercing pain in my head, but I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who my parents were. They kept asking me these questions and I was thinking, why are you asking me these things? I have no idea. Waking up and seeing my mom, and I looked at her and she had tears in her eyes, and I was thinking, who is this person? And I don't know why you're sad. And she was like, hey, I'm your mom. And I was like, what? I was very, very angry and very frustrated. Frustrated was the biggest word. I felt like I just couldn't do anything, and I wanted to so bad, and I was so determined to be able to do things on my own, and I wasn't looking to God for that. And I remember just lashing out a lot, and it wouldn't be in public, but I would stop and I would have to go to my car, or I'd have to go to another room because I would just completely have a breakdown about it, because I just did not understand why something so terrible had to happen, and no one seemed to understand it. Everyone seemed to treat it so lightly. I doubted my salvation after that incident a lot, because I was like, I don't know of a time that I really got saved. And fortunately that memory came back to me, but that didn't come back until my junior year of high school. I talked to my youth pastor, and he gave me passages where, the heart of a saved person is not the same as a lost person. Even though I was doubting, there was still something different, and even though I wanted to sin so badly and run away from God, I knew that it was wrong, and I felt conviction over it, but I just chose to ignore it. There's things that happened at school with kids being rude, and they just didn't understand that I would go home and have a meltdown every day. So if anything negative happened that day, it was amplified by 1,000. I remember I fell at nationals last year, and I had a group of kids that kind of were rude about it, and I was mistreated, and that was something that wouldn't have been as bad, except the fact that I had all this other stuff going on. So it's a bunch of things built up over time. I was sad all the time. I didn't want to do anything. And my sophomore year, I was like, I'm done with you, God. I'm running. But at the time, I was mad. I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm alone. Whenever I got deeper and deeper into that hole, I started to question, is life really worth it? Would people even care if I was here? I was thinking about ending my life, and that's a big deal. And I never would go to anyone about it. I remember one night, it was 3 a.m, and I was just shaking, and I was like, no, I'm just done with this. I'm done with everything. And I remember God just got a hold of me, and he was like, I never left you. I never left your side. This whole time I've been here, and you've just been ignoring me. But I'm here, and I'm not done with you yet. I just wept, I cried, and I could not stop crying the rest of the night. And I was like, God really is there. And it was like a peace came over me. I was like, okay, well, I'm meant to be here. I have purpose for my life. And this is how great God is. Even the times I was running and I was willing to do anything, I was willing to get into the parties. I was looking for things to fill me because I felt like I needed something to fill me, because I was so lonely. I felt so alone. I got into a relationship that I shouldn't have been involved in, and there was a lot of temptations, and every time God pulled me from it. God protected me. He pulled me. He was like, you're my child, and I'm taking you away from this. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, for the testing of your faith produces endurance. And I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, poor, pitiful me. I'm alone. I don't know anything. And then during that trial, I couldn't see any good in it. And God, the whole time, he said, I can use this. I can use you through this whole terrible situation. And there, he's like, okay, I'm sorry. He's like, I can use you through this. He's always there. He's like, I never left you, even when you wanted to leave me and run from me. I would never leave you, and I'm the one I'm your rock. I'm the one that you turn to, and you can have joy even in the midst of something horrible. I find my joy in Christ and not in other people. I don't find joy in myself. I don't find joy in being the best athlete or the best in school. And that's where I was finding my happiness before. I was like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, but really I'm nothing without God. It was just so humbling to know that he was using that trial to make me the person that I am now. And I'm still learning and I'm still getting better, and I'm not perfect by any means, but God can use even what you think is the worst thing that can happen. He can use it for his glory, and that is just, it's amazing that he would do that.